Thank you all again so much for joining us today, or for those of you who are watching at a later time. My name is Kristen McKnight. I'm an employer relations partner in our Office of Career and Professional Development here at WGU, and I'm so excited to be introducing Ashley Duggar, who is the Associate Dean and Director of the HR program here in the College of Business at WGU. So thank you so much, Ashley, and also a SHRM advisor. So that's what we're going to be chatting about today.
Yeah, thank you, Kristen. And I've got the chat up. Sometimes it does this fun thing where it hides when I start progressing through the slides. So, Kristen, keep me honest. If there are questions that pop up as we go throughout, I'm happy to answer those. We'll also have plenty of time for questions at the end. And I'm going to go ahead before I forget and just put my email address in the chat as well, in case anyone feels more comfortable sending questions through email, or you think of something after, that's totally fine to reach out. I did also, just for reference, you don't have to open all of these right now. I know it's a lot of links, but I put 3 links in the chat just so everyone has them for reference as we go throughout. And they're also just good to bookmark if the interest in SHRM or the interest in WGU SHRM is there, or if you work or want to work in HR. These are all good resources. But I've got our WGU SHRM student chapter link, which has all of the information on signing up for SHRM student membership and then joining our SHRM student chapter. Links to all of our upcoming and past events are there as well. I've got the link to the SHRM Foundation, which we'll talk through a little bit more today. Excellent resources both for students and for HR professionals, so it's a good one to bookmark. And then I've got the link directly to the benefits of and the resources included with SHRM student membership through the SHRM website. So you're full of links already, but we're going to go through. If you're not familiar yet with SHRM, you're probably wondering, what do I keep saying SHRM for? We'll talk through what SHRM is, which is the Society for Human Resource Management. We're going to talk through our own WGU SHRM virtual student chapter, which is open to any active College of Business student, whether you're grad or undergrad. And even if you're not in the HR program, this can really be helpful for you in terms of just information, networking, continued education and development outside of your degree. And then we're going to talk through all of the great benefits included with SHRM student membership. Whether or not you decide to join the WGU SHRM virtual student chapter, you can still, of course, sign up just for the SHRM student membership portion. And then we're also going to talk about, as you look towards graduation and then after graduation, what are some of the great benefits of transitioning to a SHRM professional membership. So I will try to, let's see. Okay, I can still see the chat, but if you do have questions, feel free to put those in the chat. We'll make sure that we get those addressed, or if you want to wait until the end, then that is fine as well. So what is SHRM? I think I say the SHRM name, I don't know, probably 100 times a day, because we do a lot with SHRM here at WGU. So as I noted earlier, SHRM is the Society for Human Resource Management. They are the largest HR professional association in the world. They have over 300,000 members. They are a global organization. They offer both a student membership as well as a professional level membership, and we'll get into some of the differences in the two as we go throughout the session. They also have a host of really industry recognized and competitive certifications and specialty credentials that you can choose to do through SHRM, in addition to their SHRM CP, which is Certified Professional, and the SCP, which is the Senior Certified Professional certification. They have such a huge breadth of resources. I remember when I officially moved into HR, it was overwhelming, even with the experience that I already had. And, you know, I had an amazing HR director at the time who really supported us being involved with SHRM. And just the number of resources out there that a lot of HR professionals that even have membership with SHRM already aren't aware of is incredible. So they have things like the Ask an HR Expert, the Knowledge Advisor, where if you're a professional member, you can actually log in and ask HR subject matter experts questions. Can be very helpful, especially in the field of compliance. They have tons of webinars every single week. So whether or not you get certified with the CP or SCP down the road, or if you're already certified, you do have to keep that certification active through what they call professional development credits every year in your certification cycle. You do not want to let that certification lapse. So those webinars are typically approved for PDC, and you can submit those. So that's a great benefit with membership. And then even if you're not working towards recertification credits, they have just a huge host of topics that they have different experts and leaders present on every week. So a ton of webinars that are out there. Of course, a lot of events that they do. Their annual conference, which is, I believe, the biggest HR conference in the world, that is typically in mid-June. It's coming up in just a few weeks. It will be in Las Vegas this year. So if you do have student membership, I believe you get a discount on the attendance fee. If you are in that area and not already signed up, I would encourage you to look at attending, because there's usually anywhere from about 16 to 20,000 HR professionals, another few thousand vendors that attend in the expo hall. And it's just a huge event. You get to network with so many people in general and specialized areas of HR functions from all over the world, some really incredible speakers. This year is their 75th anniversary, so they're really going all out. Janet Jackson is the Tuesday night concert, so don't attend just for that, but I'm just letting you know that that is happening. And if you're a student, it's a really great way to just immerse yourself in the HR professional community, to make connections all around the country and the world as you look towards graduation. If you're not already working in HR and you're looking to get into the field of HR as you graduate, it's just you couldn't ask, I think, for a better, more concentrated group of HR professionals to network with. And they have a lot of student-centered events and a student lounge throughout the conference as well, so you can connect with other students across the country too. They have an e-learning library, so you can log in with your membership and you can choose to access any free resources, but also they have some paid for learning library resources that is pretty reasonable, I think, especially for a team to look at that annual cost of those additional learning library resources. But tons of articles, templates that are included in your membership that can be really helpful, especially if you're trying to build something from scratch at your organization, or as you prepare to work in HR as a student, to get an idea of how you can use those tools and those resources through SHRM, and speak to an employer or a hiring manager about how you could bring these resources to benefit their organization. Now, for student membership, I think it's an amazing deal, and they haven't increased this rate in a few years now. It's $49 annually. The student membership includes digital issues of HR Magazine. You get full access to the SHRM resources that you would with a professional membership, with the exception of that Ask an Advisor service. You get SHRM member discounts, so conferences, certifications, the learning system for CP and SCP certification prep has a member discount that you can take advantage of. They also have a lot of scholarships for students, and we'll talk about through SHRM Foundation. And again, I've got that link in the chat. A lot of students don't know they have scholarships for conference attendance, for tuition, for certification that you can apply for throughout the year. So take a look at that website, because we had our student chapter president, I think it was last year, she applied for one of the scholarships for certification and was awarded that, and so has been able to work towards certification. So there are a lot of resources that SHRM Foundation and SHRM offer that a lot of people just aren't taking advantage of. They do a student exam discount if you're a student SHRM member. You also get access to their HR jobs network of jobs all around the country. So between our own wonderful career services department and what we have posted and access to for students through things like Handshake, HR jobs through SHRM also gives you access to a database of open jobs, both remote and in person, based on location, all across the country. They also do, again, in addition to what you have access to through our fantastic career services group, you've also got access through SHRM for HR specific resume and interview assistance, as well as some information on how to do an analysis for salary and compensation benchmarks as you start to go into interviews. if you're already working in HR, maybe as you look to negotiate a promotion or a pay increase, or to switch to a different type of HR function or even a different organization than your current one for a new HR role. For professional membership, and both of these are annual costs, so you do have to renew annually. It is $229, also a really good deal. Once you're working, always ask your employer. A lot of employers will pay for that because you get access to all of these amazing resources. So it's beneficial for the organization. So you can always go to your supervisor and ask if this is something that your budget, could handle paying for you. Sometimes they will do a group membership discount. So if you're part of a broad HR team, or you will be in the future, then you might be able to get some additional savings there. But again, you get that ask an advisor feature, all of the things that we just talked about in terms of the student resource access, membership discounts, those PDC opportunities in the webinars we talked about earlier. You also get access, and students do as well, to seeing where are there local and state SHRM chapters that you can get involved with in your area. So not just your national membership, which has a ton of really great resources that we've shared, but being able to get involved with your local and state chapter is just a direct lifeline to not only what's happening from a national HR perspective, but being able to talk to HR professionals in your area, to network with them, to benchmark with them, to have that regular continued learning is just really incredible. So I'd encourage you to check and see where the closest local, and if you have a state chapter, where those are headquartered and how you can get involved. Now, in terms of the certification, so our BSBA HR program is aligned to SHRM as well as HRCI, which is HR Certification Institute, to their curriculum standards. That means as you work through the program as an HR student, you're getting foundational preparation if you chose to sit for your SHRM Certified Professional exam. You do have to meet the eligibility requirements for the senior certified professional, and you do need to plan whether you do the CP or SCP if you choose to do one or both of those throughout your career. Even if you're going through and graduating from our HR program, you should still plan for additional direct test preparation. And that's where that SHRM e-learning system, or you can do a prep course. A lot of those are online, but some are still in person, where you can directly prepare for certification, because it is a very in-depth certification process. That's why I think about 12% of HR professionals hold certification, and it's very competitive as a job seeker, because you have really said, hey, I've got kind of the gold standard through these SHRM certifications and HRCI certifications to really, kind of validate my knowledge and my experience on top of my degree with this specific HR certification that is recognized by employers and hiring managers. And of course, knowing that a small percentage hold these certifications, that also sets you apart as a job seeker for promotional opportunities. A lot of employers will even offer targeted pay raises if you get a certification like this. So of course, check with your employer to see if that's something that they do, or something you could include maybe at your performance review time for additional consideration. They do have a number of specialty credentials apart from the CP and the SCP. So if you're in California, California law can be a bit of a bear. So they do have a separate specialty credential just focused on California compliance and law. If you work as an HR department of one, so a lot of small businesses, nonprofits, smaller organizations will have one HR person really handling the breadth of all the HR work. And that can be pretty overwhelming in a lot of cases. But if you find yourself in that situation, which a lot of HR professionals do throughout their career, the great thing is you get experience in all of the HR functions, and you get that hands-on experience. And then that HR department of one credential through SHRM is some additional learning on how to handle all of that when it's just you. Inclusive workplace culture is a fairly new one that they've introduced that is really focused on inclusive application in building workplace culture and shifting culture, but also through the HR functions. Now, that one is not just for HR professionals, which is really great. It's also for leaders, for business owners, because those HR functions all tie into what leaders and small business owners do day to day. And especially if they don't have an HR department and they're the ones responsible for those things, this kind of certification I think is very helpful because it walks through inclusive application of recruiting, of your total reward strategy design, how you justify and build ROI for investing in an inclusive culture, and what are the benefits of that in the workplace. They have a people analytics specialty credential, which is a huge growing field in HR. So if you really love working with data and analysis and how you use that for decision making, this might be something that you want to explore, especially if you want to pursue a career track in the analytics space. Talent acquisition, I always call this sort of the gateway job for HR. This is where a lot of HR professionals get their start, is in recruiting. And so knowing that this talent acquisition credential through SHRM can boost your resume and your knowledge even more, this could be a great place if you're looking to break into the HR industry to consider this specialty credential on top of your degree. If comp and benefits is really your passion, they do have a total reward specialty credential. I believe they're working on one in learning and development. I know you don't see that here, and that's because it is not one that they currently offer, but I do think they are working on rolling one out. They also have one on U.S. employment immigration, workplace investigation. So if you are an HR generalist, if you're a manager, if you work specifically in compliance or employee experience, this could be very helpful for you to pursue the investigations piece. That is an area I hear from a lot of students that when they get into the workplace, they're sometimes surprised by the number of investigations, the types of investigations that they're doing on a regular basis. So this can be an extra tool in your toolkit. The people manager qualification is one of their more popular specialty certs. And this is similar to inclusive workplace culture, not just for HR, but for anyone that is managing people, leading a team, running a business, for HR especially. And if you want to pursue a senior level HR position where you will be managing a team of other HR professionals, as well as supporting leaders and employees in the organization, I think this one is incredibly valuable. They have the self-paced online format where you can work through it, and I just started to look at it myself and go through it, and so far I'm very impressed. It's very interactive and engaging, so that would be one that I would encourage you to also check out either now or in the future. And then they have these free certifications in partnership with SHRM Foundation. Everyone loves free, right? And these are great credentials. You do get a badge. I know we love adding the badges to our LinkedIn and resume to really legitimize our achievements. And so for the veterans at work, this is focused on not only supporting the hiring, but the development and the engagement of veterans who have served that are transitioning to a civilian workforce, as well as military spouses, and just the amazing talent in that demographic of potential employees and candidates. And so that is a self-paced online credential. So is Getting Talent Back to Work, which is about second chance hiring for individuals who may have been incarcerated or transitioning back to the workforce or to the workforce for the first time. They also have another credential that isn't listed here, and I don't know why I didn't list it here, that rolled out about a year ago, which is on disability inclusion, and it's called Employing Abilities at Work. I think everyone should have that certificate. It's also self-paced and online. It is also a free certificate through partnership with SHRM Foundation and Global Disability Inclusion. They did some phenomenal work just on being more aware in the workplace of disabilities, how we make sure that those with disabilities, both visible and non-visible, feel included, are engaged, are contributing, have the resources that they need to be successful. So those are three free ones that if you're looking for some additional professional development, if you're certified and you're looking for some additional PDCs while you work through your program, those could be some helpful certifications without having to invest additional costs like the specialty credentials. I know we already kind of talked through most of what's here in terms of resources and learning that SHRM offers. The big one that I just wanted to highlight again, well, actually really two. So the career support in terms of giving a really HR specific lens to how you can network with other HR professionals, find out about HR jobs in your area or across the country through that database that are available, but also as you work with a local and a state SHRM chapter, if you choose to do that, that's another great way for you to get sort of the inside scoop on employers that may be hiring for HR roles as you work and connect with those HR professionals through different SHRM events and membership. And then the tools and samples, I have used those tools so many times in my role as an HR professional where, we were creating a new policy from scratch or we were creating a handbook or something. Those can save you a lot of time. You don't have to recreate the wheel. It's part of that membership fee. And it's really nice sometimes just to have that starting point from SHRM to rely on as you go back to your leadership team and your employees. And, you can really speak to, okay, we did this based on things that were developed and researched by SHRM, by their experts to use as a starting point for our organization. Now, I told you about the annual conference. I know everyone's eyes lit up when they saw Janet Jackson was performing. The energy at that conference is just incredible. And if you've worked in HR already and you're working through a degree, I know you're juggling a lot. If you are not yet working in HR and working on your degree, I think sometimes it's easy to get so focused on all the things we have to do, we can lose some of that excitement for what is a really fulfilling and incredible career path in HR. And so the annual conference is a great way to just sort of re-energize, reset, refresh. But they do have other conferences that they do annually as well. Now, this doesn't include any local or state SHRM events, but most state chapters will do an annual conference. Local chapters, most of them tend to meet monthly, if not more frequently in some cases. So you can always check out what's happening in your area as well. But from the national office, in addition to the annual conference, they do a workplace policy conference. They do one focus on employment law and compliance, which I believe is usually in DC. The talent conference and expo is usually in, I want to say April, kind of the early to mid spring timeframe, because they do stagger these out. They have an inclusion conference, which I went to pre-COVID, and it was a really great experience. Usually, I think a couple thousand people still attend that one. So while these other ones are smaller than annual conference, there's still a ton of different HR professionals and people that you can connect with, and all the speakers that you can hear from in the breakout sessions. That one is usually, I believe, in October. This year, it is going to be in Savannah, Georgia. I had to think about it for a second. If you decide to go, hit me up on LinkedIn, let me know because I will be there. They do these Tune In Tuesday events where they've got different speakers and webinars that are presenting nationally. They have some specific events in Northern California and large participation there. They also, like we mentioned, do the state and the local chapter events. So you want to check to see what's going on in your area. And then they do have different global, you can see different global SHRM chapters as well. All right, I'm going to pause real quick. Kristen, if that's okay, and just answer. I see a couple questions in chat. Linda, your question about the criteria for student membership. Yeah, so for student membership through SHRM, you do have to be an active student. That membership has to be renewed annually. To join our SHRM student chapter through WGU, you do also, per the SHRM requirements, have to be an active student. You can stay in the chapter if you're on term break, but once you graduate or if you completely drop or withdraw from the program, then you wouldn't be eligible to still be officially active in the chapter. We do have a LinkedIn group page where we have alumni, we have different HR professionals from across the country, in addition to our active members that you can, of course, always be a part of and participate in, even once you finish your program. And I can put the link for that in the chat in just a minute, so I'll make sure I get that in there, but that could be an option for you as well. Jess, for your question, yeah, you can get all of the specialty credentials. So I'm getting ready to finish the inclusive workplace culture. I've got the 3 employing abilities at work, veterans at work, and then I'm trying to remember the second chance hiring. And so if you wanted to get all of them, there is no limit on the specialty credentials. And then the same with the professional certification. If you start with your CP and then you progress through your career and you qualify for and wanted to sit for the senior certified professional exam, you could do that later on too. So the question about WGU courses, so can the WGU courses in the HR program be used by themselves to pass the SHRM exam? I can't say yes or no because it's so dependent on everyone's experience working in HR. I have had some students that have come back and said, hey, I work in HR. When I finished the program, I went ahead and sat for the exam and I passed. I always recommend that you do dedicated test preparation because the courses are not direct test preparation. They're giving you really strong foundational experience to help prepare. But whether you choose the learning system through SHRM or you do some external resources or just study on your own for the exam, I would always recommend that you at least consider some additional test preparation because if you don't pass the first time, there is a fee for you to retake it a second time. And it's a very in-depth exam. There are a lot of behavioral based scenarios and questions as well, but I would just personally, my recommendation is always plan for some kind of dedicated test preparation in addition to your courses. Now, I have heard from students, though, a lot of great feedback in addition to the ones who have set for the exam just with their degree program and their professional experience. A lot of students have come back, and whether they did separate prep or not, and said, a lot of what I learned in my courses I saw on the exam. And that's because we put a lot of effort into making sure we align to all of the SHRM content standards in the program. And we just launched our redeveloped HR program version on April 1st that is even more robust. So we now have standalone courses in things like DEI, HR technology, global HR, in addition to our kind of foundational HR courses. Yeah, Jess, you can absolutely join the chapter, even if you're in a different degree program, even if it's not related to HR. We have some folks in our healthcare management, in our IT management programs, in our accounting and finance programs. We've got students right now from all of our different degree programs. I believe except for the brand new MS in marketing because that just rolled out. But from our grad and undergrad programs in College of Business, as long as you're active in one of those programs, then you could join the chapter. Alyssa's question on membership. So you can sign, I actually would suggest if you're currently a student, you can get that student membership for $49. And then they usually will do a discount when you convert to a professional membership. I think within the first 6 months to a year after you graduate, when you go to renew, usually SHRM will have some sort of discount. I don't know if that's something they're going to do every year, but I've seen it regularly since we started working with the chapter, where you get some sort of discount or incentive to transition from your student membership to professional. So if you want to access the resources now, as you look to graduating in a few months, you can get the student membership for $49. It's good for a year or until you transition to professional. And then, of course, you can join if you wanted to also join the WGU chapter and participate in events. You could do that for the next few months before you graduate. Yeah, Michelle, I think hopefully that answered the first part of your question. You would have full access with your student membership for a year. Both student and professional membership are renewed annually. And then once you transition from being an active student to professional membership, that's when you would get full access to like the Ask an Advisor feature. I would suggest for the second question, like once you're hired and working somewhere in an HR role, talk to your employer to see if they would pay for the full professional membership fee or the transition costs from student to professional if that applies in your situation. Most employers are at least open to the discussion, and it's overall, it's not an exorbitant cost for the annual professional membership. So a lot of them are willing to, if not pay it, sometimes they'll say like, okay, we'll pay half of it if you pay the other half or something like that. So it's always helpful, I think, just to at least talk to them about it. But yeah, your student membership is good from a year from the time that you purchase it. And yeah, just to join the WGU SHRM membership virtual student chapter, you do have to have SHRM student membership first. That's a requirement from SHRM. We don't charge anything for you to join the WGU SHRM chapter since you're already paying for SHRM student membership. But SHRM's bylaws do say that you do have to have SHRM student membership to join the chapter. All right, I think I hit them. If I missed some ones, I apologize. I was trying to scroll back up. I think I got them all. If not, please repost it. And then when we pause again, I'll make sure that we cover it. All right, so a little bit about our chapter. We, as you know, we just talked about, we have students from all of our different degree programs, grad and undergrad. We have about 700 members. We're adding new members every single week as people sign up. And then, of course, as people graduate, they are no longer in the chapter. But again, we encourage them to stay active on the group LinkedIn page to network, to share resources, and just to, feel connected as an alum. We have won merit awards from SHRM every year now that we've had the chapter since it started. Gosh, 2019. Kristen, that sounds like it feels so much longer. But we've had the chapter since the spring of 2019. And the first year we had an honorable mention merit award. The next year we had a merit. Last year we had a superior merit award, which is the highest award for our educational programming and content offered to our members. So we just submitted for this past chapter year consideration. Hopefully I think we hear usually around August, and we're hoping we can keep our merit and superior merit status each year. We usually release a new calendar of events usually by the end of December, just so you can see from January to December next year what's coming up. But the SHRM chapter year does run from April 1st to the end of March. A little confusing. We did some in-person community service stuff in 2020, right before COVID hit. We're hoping to get back to some potential in-person community service projects across the country at some point in 2023 to 2024. We've also been talking to our WGU National Black MBA Association virtual club about potentially partnering our student chapter members and College of Business students on some in-person community service projects. So more to come on that. But we do highlight in our monthly newsletter to our WGU SHRM members different community service things that we're promoting that they can get involved with all across the country. So if you're a student member or you sign up as a student member, keep an eye out for that newsletter because we feature those things every month. Of course, tons of networking opportunity, not only with the internal and external speakers that we're bringing in for educational events, but also because we're hoping to start doing some in-person things, not only in the community service space, but with some local and state SHRM chapters across the country, where we might be able to invite our students to come network with those members in their area as well. So more to come on that too. But then also with the other almost 700 members in the chapter in different industries, different locations across the country, you have this really incredible opportunity to network with those other chapter members. And I've seen people say, hey, Kristen, I'm looking to move to the Charlotte, North Carolina area, and I see you're a chapter member and you're there and you work in HR. Could you help me connect with some local HR professionals in the area? Do you know of anything at your organization? And so it's a really, really neat way just to connect with the members from all different places. And then we also have student leadership opportunities, which can be a really nice resume builder. So we do have a chapter president role. We also have student chapter ambassadors that are helping us promote the different events and engage other classmates and members. And we hold those elections usually January to February of each year so that they can come into place in those new roles for the start of the SHRM chapter year in March and April. So if you are a member or you join, we start to send that messaging out usually the first week in January each year with what opportunities are available. You can self-submit a nomination and then the faculty advisors will make decisions on final placement. But it's a really neat opportunity for you to hold a student leader role We also get our student leaders to write blogs and things for our website throughout the year on webinars that they attend, or if they're going to local or state or national SHRM events, kind of their takeaways. We've also had them, write blogs and plan to write blogs on things like, hey, I'm going through certification, or here's my experience as an HR student as I'm graduating and looking for jobs in the HR field. So that's a different muscle to kind of flex, but also a pretty cool resume builder too. So we do have events throughout the year. Like I mentioned, they're all virtual currently, but we're looking to maybe try and start some in-person things now that hopefully we're on sort of the other side of at least the bulk of COVID. We don't want to, of course, downplay, because I know that it's different in different areas and at different times, and everyone has different concerns and things to be aware of. But if we do start to offer in-person events, of course, totally voluntary, just like the virtual events, but we do encourage people to attend virtual or in person when we're holding those things as much as possible, so that you can engage with the chapter and the other members as much as you can. We do bring in both internal as well as external subject matter experts and thought leaders. We've had some really incredible speakers, and you can see the past events. We do record all of those. We've got the past events from the last couple years on the chapter website if you want to watch any of those. You do, of course, need to be a member to attend the live events. And then we've also got some additional resources on that page. So blogs, articles, we've got some recordings from when we were at a past SHRM conference and did some live webcasts with thought leaders in different topical areas. And then we've got a really neat compilation video of some of the community service stuff we did in 2020 pre-COVID with different events around the country to give you an idea there. Each year we try and do sort of an overarching theme. We have events in a lot of different topics though. So we make sure we keep the events to sort of the HR, leadership, org culture, business trends sort of umbrella, because we know we have students not just in HR. This year, we've decided to focus on org culture. So we don't only have events on org culture, but you will see a theme throughout some of the events we've already had and some of the ones coming up on things like coaching, avoiding burnout, building a stronger inclusive culture, and in those types of topics. So that's sort of our umbrella for this year. All right, so how do you join? I know everyone is running there right now to join. So I did mention you have to have your SHRM student membership. That's the first step. Once you have signed up for that and paid for that through SHRM, you go to our chapter website, and we have the links to SHRM on the chapter website here. I've also put that link in the chat, so you don't have to click around a bunch of places. You sign up through the form on the website to say, yes, I want to join WGU SHRM now that I have SHRM student membership. Make sure you are not unsubscribed from WGU marketing emails, or you won't get the emails that come out in terms of, hey, you signed up, here are your next steps, and also the monthly newsletters that let you know of upcoming events with our chapter, with National SHRM, certification deadlines, those community service opportunities that we're highlighting, and other news. And then anyone can join our chapter LinkedIn page. And so I'm going to see, I'll have to put it in. Well, let me copy it from my slides. I'll put it in the chat as soon as I finish presenting, because anyone can join that page. We post different polls, webinars, articles, things that are coming up, and we encourage people to get involved and to engage there too. Now through SHRM Foundation, and again, I did put the link to that in the chat, please check it out. Whether you're a WGU SHRM member or not, they have so many resources available. They have an official mentoring program where they will pair students with an HR mentor across the country. It is a free program. It kind of blows my mind. I was talking to a chapter member a few weeks ago, and they said, I'm looking for an HR mentor. I said, oh, there's a program that you can actually join through the SHRM Foundation. So it's a really structured program. There is not a cost to the students. So if that's something you're interested in, especially if you're trying to break into the HR industry, I would encourage you to check that out. Those free certificates that we mentioned earlier on things like Veterans at Work, Employing Abilities at Work, those are run through SHRM in partnership with SHRM Foundation. So check that out. Excuse me. They have those different scholarships. So again, we mentioned scholarships for your program that you might want to apply for, but also scholarships to attend events, to get certified, and other tools throughout the funding opportunities that they have. They have different career connection events where you can network with other HR professionals and SHRM members. And then they have a talent accelerator program and tool. And so if you're looking at potential HR career maps or career pathing, what your interests align to, that could be helpful for you as well. Now, as you graduate, or if you are recently graduated, how you stay involved with SHRM. Hopefully we've covered the benefits and the resources enough, but I just wanted to highlight again, typically you can be eligible through SHRM to upgrade to professional membership at a discounted rate for that first year. And then of course, the resources that we talked about in the beginning, you would continue and then expand the resources that you're able to access with professional membership. You will also then get the chance, if you do have a local or state SHRM chapter, not all, but I believe most of them now will require that you are a national SHRM member to join a local chapter. And so that way you're kind of getting, I know with mine, I pay one fee that includes both the national membership and the local membership fee when I renew, which is very convenient. And then you also, of course, as a member can get pretty significant savings on conference registration fee, different seminars that they offer virtually or in person, and certification and specialty credentials. All right, so Sean Walcarty, he is our chapter co-advisor. He's one of our HR faculty. If you've ever been in one of our events or you've had classes with him, you know he's amazing. I've got both of our email addresses there, and then I'm also going to put our chapter email in the chat here, which is just WGU SHRM at WGU.edu. But did we have, I'm trying to scroll back up. I didn't see any other questions come in unless I missed them. And if I did, please let me know so we can make sure your questions are answered. But
Yeah, so
otherwise,
I got one question that was sent to me, and it
yeah.
said, you talked about it a little bit, but just to clarify again, maybe, as an alumni, will I always be part of the WGU SHRM virtual chapter?
Yeah, good question. So once you are no longer an active student or on term break status with us, you aren't officially an active WG SHRM member because SHRM bylaws require that you are an active student. So once you graduate or if you drop from the program, while you aren't still an active chapter member where you can attend all of the events, sometimes we do open events to everyone. We would encourage you to stay connected through the LinkedIn page because if we do things like community service events and you're in the area and you're like, hey, I'd love to come, you know, otherwise you wouldn't know about those things potentially, but also it's a nice way for you to stay connected with other current chapter members, other chapter alums, other program alums, and other HR professionals from across the country. So you can be engaged on the chapter page and still have that connection. But if you're not technically an active degree seeking student, grad or undergrad, then you couldn't be in the chapter. Now, if you graduate and you come back, because we will have a master's in HR launching in November, which I'm very excited about, then let's say you graduate from an undergrad program or a master's program and you come back for another degree, you can rejoin the student chapter. You would just have to sign back up through the chapter form on the website so that we get that export and see, oh, you know, Kristen is back. She's an active student again. So we've signed her back up for the student chapter and added her to the roster. And then you can be in the chapter until you graduate again.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Ashley. And there's a lot of really like the stuff that we've done together, I know has always been just so interesting and like I always learn a lot when I go to the SHRM events too. So
Yeah.
definitely something that comes highly recommended from, you know, our team as well, professional associations in general. If you decide maybe SHRM isn't for you, you were thinking maybe HR, you change your mind down the line, just joining any professional association is a really great way to stay current in your field and to build those connections of people who can, help you advance in your career and help keep you, accountable too. So it's a really great opportunity.
Yeah. Well, and in HR specifically, things change so rapidly from a compliance perspective. Even not just federal law, but state and local laws change so rapidly. And it's really helpful, I feel like, in that regard, specifically to be connected, because you're getting the updates from SHRM as part of your membership and resources, but then you're also hearing from other speakers. And if you engage with your local and your state chapter, you're getting that more location specific update, which can be a real lifeline in many cases, because HR, we wear so many hats and we're expected to keep up with the constantly shifting guidelines and regulatory requirements and compliance reporting and all these different areas. And it's hard in a lot of cases to do that, especially if you're an HR department of one. So just having some resources and that link to other professionals to run things by can be very helpful.
Yeah, definitely. And shameless plug, Thursday, if you are interested in learning more about the Masters in HR that's coming this fall, Ashley will be hosting another session talking a little bit more about that on Thursday. I'll even include a link directly to that in my email that goes out. So you can just click on that link and register right there.
Yeah, we're so excited about. I know so many of our students and our alums have asked for years, you have a master's in HR, and I'm just so excited that now we can say, yes, we do. It will be here in what, 6, 7 months at this point. So it's coming up very quickly, and we're incredibly excited about the program. If you are SHRM CP or SCP or HRCI, PHR, SPHR certified, there is potential for you to get transfer credit for one course. And then, spoiler alert, if you can't come to the event Thursday, the program will also include one of the SHRM specialty credentials that we went over earlier, the Inclusive Workplace Culture credential. So that is included in the cost of your tuition in the Masters in HR program. So we are very excited about the program and just all of the investments that students will get from being a graduate of the program and the ties to SHRM.
Wonderful. Anyone have any other questions for Ashley about SHRM or the HR program? If you have that question. I saw Jess said that she just joined the LinkedIn group. The
Oh,
LinkedIn group
yay.
is great.
Good, good. And please engage there, because we have so many people that join. And, I think sometimes people feel like they can't post things, but if you see articles, if you know of webinars coming up, if you want to start a poll, anything in the HR, leadership, business sort of arena is fair game in the chapter page. So we want people to be engaging and to see that other members are posting and participating. Nobody wants to just hear from me all the time. So I encourage you to join and then to be active. Oh, great. I've seen a couple other folks have joined as well. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, what I will go ahead and do, I'll close out the recording. Thank you all so much for joining today. And then if you do have any other questions that you want to ask, maybe more privately, we will hang out here for a little bit longer to address any of those questions. But really appreciate you all taking the time out of your day, and have a good one. Hope to see you again at another one of these sessions soon.
Yeah, thank you all so much for attending. Great questions. And if you think of something later, feel free to reach out, connect on LinkedIn, send me an email. Always happy to talk all things HR and SHRM.